Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tessie and today we are going to be making this dress. It's going to be a Queen Annie neckline. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly do that and let's get right into the video. So my pattern paper is folded into two and this will serve as my starting point. So what I'll do next is to chalk my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So the shoulder I'm working with divided by 2 is 8.5. So I chalked 8.5 and I came down to my armhole line, which is 9 inches. What I'll do next is to connect my lines. Now I'll take from the shoulder to the bust point, 11. From the shoulder to the under bust at 14. Then from the shoulder to the half length, that's 17. But I'll be adding extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I have 18 here. So I'll go ahead now to connect my lines. So guys, I'll go ahead now to indicate my chest line, my bust point, my under bust, and my waist line. So what I'll do next is to take my neck measurement. So I'll be using 3 inches. Then I'll come down at the shoulder area by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So I'll connect from this 3 inches all the way down here. What I'll do next is to check what I have from this point all the way down here. So as you can see, I have 8 inches. I'll divide it by 2, which is 4. Then I'll be coming in here by half an inch. So on the chest line, I'll place my bust measurement divided by 4. So the bust I'm working with divided by 4 will give me 9.75, which I have here. So I'll go ahead now to curve in my armhole. So what I'll do next is place my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. So the nipple to nipple I'm working with is 8 inches. Divided by 2 is 4. And I'll be adding extra half an inch for joining allowance. So at the bust point line, I'll place 4.5. At the under bust, I'll place 4.5. And at the waistline, also 4.5. So I'll go ahead now to connect it into a straight line. So what I'll do next is to check what I have from this point all the way down here. So I have 5.5. So I'll divide it into 2. So I'll chalk what I have there. And from that point, I'll connect it all the way down here. So guys, what I'll do next is to curve my Queen Annie neckline. So from this shoulder line, I'll come down by 6 inches. So from this point, I came down by 6 inches, which I have here. So guys, from this 6 inches that I came down at, I'm just going to give it a curve all the way down to somewhere here. I don't want mine to get to the bust point. It depends on how revealing you want it to be. So from this bust point line, I'm going to be coming up by 1.5 inch. So I came up by 1.5. Then I'm going to curve from this point all the way down here. So I'll be using my curve ruler to do that. So guys, what I'll be doing next is the under bust tightening. So for a small bust, you could use 1 inch here, 1 inch here. For a medium bust, 1 inch, 1.5. For a larger bust, you could use 1.5 here, 1.5 here, or you could use 1 inch here, 2 inches here. It all depends on your preference. So what I'll be using 1 inch here, 1.5 inches here. So on this side of the pattern, I'll be using 1 inch. And on this other side, I'll use 1.5. So what I'll do next is to connect it into a straight line. So what I'll do next is to connect my line all the way down to the bust point line, coming down by like half inch to eliminate pointiness around that bust area. Guys, what I'll do next is At the chest line area, I'll be coming in by 1 inch on both sides. But for a smaller bust, you can use 0.75 on both sides. So I'll come in here by 1 inch. And I'll also come in here by 1 inch. What I'll do next is to connect my line all the way down to the bust point line, coming up by half an inch to eliminate pointiness. So I'll connect the lines. So guys, after connecting my darts, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So guys, what I'll do next is tick out the areas that I'll be taking off. So guys, after ticking out the areas I'll be taking off, I'll be placing my body measurement and replacing back the darts. So on the chest line, my bust divided by 4 is 9.75, which I have here. I'll replace back the darts we took on this point. And I'll be adding extra 2 inches for my sewing allowance. On the underbust, I'll place my underbust measurement divided by 4. The underbust I'm working with divided by 4 is 8.5. I'll replace back the dart we took. And I'll be adding extra 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So on the waistline as well, I'll place my waist measurement divided by 4. I'll replace back the dart we took. And I'll be adding extra 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So what I'll do next is to connect my lines together. So guys, after adding my measurement and replacing back my dart, this is what we have. So now for the Queen Annie neckline, from this point, I'm just going to connect all the way down to this point here. So I'll be using my ruler to do that. So from that point, I'm just going to connect all the way down here. So guys, this is it, as you can see. So guys, this area will serve as the yoke. Now, if you look closely, you will notice this place, that this side is shorter than this. So we need to make this side equal to this in order not to affect us when we are joining. So what you need to do is check what you have from this point all the way down here. So I'm just going to place my tape and check. I have 5 inches. Now I'll check what I have from this point all the way down here. So I have 4 inches. So I need to add extra 1 inch to make this equal to this. Hope you understand. So from this point, I'm just going to be chalking 1 inch. So what I'll do next is connect from this point all the way down to that 1 inch line. So guys, after chalking 1 inches and connecting my lines, what I'll do next is from this point, I'm just going to blend it all the way down here. So I'll be using my curve ruler to do that. So from this point, I'll blend it in. So from this point, I'm just going to blend it all the way in. So guys, this will serve as the new neckline. So guys, when you bring this and this together, they will match up. So let me just show you guys what I mean. So I'm just going to place it together this way. As you can see, so this is what we have. This is what it looks like. You can see that they are matching up when you bring them together. The lines are going to match up this way. So that's the reason why. So we are done with the front part of the bustier. I'll go ahead now to cut. Before cutting, I like labeling this as my bust point, my under bust, and my waist line. So I'll go ahead now to cut, then I'll label this as my yoke. So guys, this is what the front part looks like. As you can see, our Queen Annie neckline for the front is ready. So I'll go over to the back. So guys, for the back, I'm not going to be adding zip to the back. It's going to have a loop. But in case you want zip, just go ahead, chalk your zip allowance line. So let's say we are adding zip to it. I'm going to chalk my zip allowance. I'm going to be adding 2 inches for the zip. Then I'll connect that 2 inches straight down. What I'll do next is on the starting point, I'll be placing my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So the shoulder I'm working with divided by 2 is 9.5, 8.5. Then I'll come down to the armhole line, which is 9 inches. What I'll do next is connect my lines. So from the shoulder, I'll come down to the waistline. Then I'll go ahead now to connect my lines together. I'll label this as my chest line and my waist line. So for the neck, I'll also use 3 inches on this part, and I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So I'll connect the lines together. So I'll place my tape and check what I have from this point to this point. I have 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. Then on the chest line, I'll be placing my bust measurement divided by 4. So what I'll do next is just curve out my armhole. So for the back, I'm going to be curving out my armhole. So guys, for the back, I'll be placing my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. So the nipple to nipple I'm working with is 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. I'm going to be chalking 4.5. Then I'll also chalk 4.5 on this point. Chalk 4.5 on this point as well. Then I'll connect it into a straight line. What I'll do next is place my darts. So on this side of the pattern, I'll be using 1/2 inch. I use 1/2 inch here too. So I'll connect all the way down to the chest line. So guys, what I'll do next is place my measurement and replace back the dart. On my chest line, I'll place my bust measurement divided by 4. Then I'll be adding extra 2 inches for joining allowance. On the waistline, I'll place my waist measurement divided by 4. I'll replace back the dart we took. And I'll be adding extra 2 inches for my joining allowance. So what I'll do next is connect from this point to this point. So guys, in case you're adding zip to this, what you need to do is come up here by 1 inch or 0.75. Then from this point, you slant all the way up. So from this point, just slant all the way up to eliminate zip bulge. You can see. So you label this as your zip allowance. So guys, but I will not be adding zip to mine, but in case you're adding zip to yours, go ahead, chalk down your neckline. If you want it to be 2 inches, then you curve. But since I'll not be adding zip to this, I'm going to be adding loop. What I'll do is at this side of the pattern, I'll be taking 2 inches off. So I'm just taking 2 inches off, and also at the down part, I'll take 2 inches off. I'll be adding loop to mine, like I said. So I'll take 2 inches off. Then from this point, I'm just going to slant all the way here. So from the neckline, I'll slant all the way to that 2 inches. So this will serve as my yoke. I'll label this as my back yoke. So my loop is going to be here. So I'll go ahead now to cut out my pattern.
So guys, if you've watched the video to this point and you're yet to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right back into the video.
So guys, I'll go ahead now to cut out the back yoke. So guys, this will serve as my yoke. When you open it up, you should have something looking like this. So guys, this is it for the back. So guys, for the front part of the bustier, I've cut out my fabric as you can see. So what I'll do is join them together. I have a detailed video on how to perfectly pad a bustier. You should check that video out. So I'll go ahead now to join my bustier together. So I'll join them together. I'll do the same thing for the fabric as well.
So guys, after joining, this is what we have. Now for the yoke, I've cut out my yoke and I added half an inch all around. And I've also cut out the lining piece. I'm just going to place them together this way. And then I'll be stitching half an inch. After stitching half an inch, I'm going to turn it. So after turning, this is what it looks like as you can see. So guys, what I'll do is to join my yoke and the main fabric together. So I'm just going to place it right side facing each other, then stitch by half inch. I'll do the same thing for this part as well. So what I'll do next is to place my lining on the main fabric. So I'll place my lining on the main fabric and I'll be stitching by half inch. I'll stitch by half inch all the way down, then I'll turn it inside out. So after doing that, this is what we have as you can see. Now for the back, before attaching my loop, I'm going to be adding this black fabric on the side. So I cut out 4 inches, then I fold it into two just this way, then I'll place it at that side. So guys, after placing my fabric, I'll be stitching on this side and also on this side. So you repeat same process on the other side. Place in your fabric and then you stitch all the way down and you stitch this side as well. So after doing all of that, this is what it looks like as you can see. So what I'll do is attach my yoke. So for the back, I'm also using the same fabric as the yoke. So I've cut out my yoke, adding half an inch all the way around. Then I've cut out the lining piece as well. So I'll place my lining on the main fabric. Then I will be stitching. So after stitching, I'm just going to turn it inside out. So what I'll do next is to place my yoke on the main piece this way. Go ahead, place in your yoke and then you place the other one. After doing that, you take your lining piece, you place it on top of it this way. After placing your lining piece on top of it, you go ahead now to stitch all the way down and you turn it out. But I'll be attaching my boning on the lining piece first. So you can choose to add boning, you can choose not to add boning. So it all depends on your preference. So I'm going to be using my bias to create a boning case. So I'm just going to open it and then place in my boning. So guys, after doing that, what I'll be doing next is adding my boning on this side. So what I'll do is measure where I want the boning to stop. So make sure not to cut your boning to the end part because it will be hard for you to sew. So as you can see, I cut out the boning and then I'm going to be trimming the edges. Make sure to trim or file your edges. So after trimming the edges, I'm just going to attach my boning on this side of the back piece. So after attaching my boning, I'll attach this other boning on the other side as well. So after attaching the boning, I'm going to be stitching all the way down and I'll stitch this part as well. So I'll repeat same process on this other part. So guys, what I'll do next is to chalk where I want the eyelet to be. I'll go and attach my eyelets. So guys, after doing that, I've gone ahead to cut out the down part, that's the skirt part, and I added my lining piece to it. So what I'll do is to take the top part of the front and add it to the down part of the front. So I'll go ahead now to stitch by half inch. Then I'll do the same thing for the back piece. I'm going to be attaching the piece together. So I'll just quickly place them. this way. Then I'll place the right side on the right side, stitch by half inch. I'll do the same thing on this part as well. So guys, after stitching, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So I'm going to be joining the back and the front together. I'm going to place it together. Then on the shoulder area, I'll be stitching with half inch. After stitching, I'll go ahead now to pin them down and then take in my measurement and then shape in the dress. Guys, for the sleeve, I folded my fabric into two. On fold, I have 13 inches. Then I chalked the starting point. From that point, I took the length of the sleeve. So the length is 24 inches, but I added 1 inch for folding allowance, which is 25 inches. So what I'll do next is to use my free hand to curve out my armhole. So after curving out my armhole, I'm just going to come down, and then before getting to the end part, I'm just going to give it like an A-line effect, just for it to have like that A-line effect. So after curving, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So we're done with the first sleeve. I'll go ahead now to cut it out. So after cutting out this sleeve, I'll cut another piece for the second sleeve. Then I'm going to be curving the down part a bit. So guys, I'll go ahead to curve and then cut the other sleeve. So guys, I've gone ahead to attach my zip on the dress. As you can see, this is what it looks like. So I'll quickly attach my sleeve on the dress. So after attaching my sleeve on the dress, I'll be showing you guys the end results. So guys, this is the final result. As you can see, this is what the front looks like, and then for the back, this is the back view. As you can see, so you can tell in the video that she loves her outfit. Hope this tutorial was helpful. You can make yours and send it to me on Instagram at So with Tess. Please do not forget to like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe. See you guys. Bye.